You're still, pretty lyrically minded. Where do you find some of your lyric inspiration? Because they're very beautiful. Like, they kind of range
Yeah,
a lot of different themes. And
it's a very interesting question because, like for instance, I've been playing with Camper, like I said, for a million years, and David Lowery is a very character-driven writer, and I have always gone back and forth on this idea of being a character-driven writer because I feel like he has said that there's no way that an individual human's personal experience can fill 10 records, but I disagree with that. I feel like any one human's experience of love can develop the poetry to fill a million records. And so I have always written from personal experience. I think Victor Krummenacher also, who's from Camper and has been making his own records for almost 20 years now also, has gotten into the character development. And I think that this is very common in writers. Early on, I think songwriters start from personal experience, and then when they sort of get a level of craftsmanship behind them, they switch over a lot of times to character-driven.
It's like novelists.
Like novelists, right? And like I would say, like look at Richard Thompson's career as a songwriter. He's an amazing songwriter, still is an amazing songwriter, but there's no way that he's specifically drawing from personal experience now.
Right. Very prolific. He has a huge catalog.
So I only rely on character-driven lyricism occasionally when it and a lot of times I'll try desperately to draw something from personal experience. If I can't, then there are books. Like for instance, right now I was just reading a book over the past couple of weeks by Per Olav Lindqvist, who's a Swedish author who wrote a book about the Danish king in 1760 and his personal physician. And there were some particular lines in it that I thought, where the physician was describing the king, that I thought were poignant and beautiful. And I've sort of lifted some of the imagery from that, and I'm trying to develop a song about that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but other than that, it's like I don't know where they come from.
How do you feel like living in the Bay Area informs your sound?
I'm definitely a Bay Area person. I'm definitely a San Franciscan. I live in Oakland now. I lived in San Francisco for a decade. I really love San Francisco. It informs my sound. There's definitely a heritage of this sort of jackhammer influence sound. There's definitely a heritage of psychedelia that I'm definitely involved in.
Yeah.
There's definitely a heritage of blues rock and and the underground scene, and the underground scene that's sort of outside of the dogma of, say, when punk rock bands were here in the late 70s and early 80s, they were a little bit outside of the dogma of punk rock as it developed in LA, for instance. So you didn't have to be Black Flag. You could be Tuxedo Moon or the Avengers or something like that. You could be something different, and that's nice. I think that that's a really important thing about the Bay Area. It's always been like that. Can
you tell me a little bit about Chaos Butterfly, that project?
Chaos Butterfly was an interesting thing. It developed out of studying electronic music a lot and the improv world. And I got together with Dina Emerson, who is singing for Cirque du Soleil. Cool. And she plays wine glasses and sings. And I was using two computers. She was using a computer. And I played violin and guitar, and she sang and played wine glasses. And we tried to start from an improvisational base and tried to make songs. And it was pretty tough, actually, trying to make songs. But we managed to do it on a few of those records. And we have there's also a really nice recording from Sweden, from Gothenburg, with Biggie Vinkelo, who plays saxophone and flute. That we did that was entirely improvised in the studio with a small audience of about 25 people.
Cool.
I think that's one of the best Chaos Butterfly examples. Yeah.
Is that project still active?
No, Dina moved back to Las Vegas.
Okay.
She was initially singing as a sub in, I can't remember, and now she's in Mystere full time. So she's moved back to Las Vegas. So Chaos Butterfly now exists as me and whomever I get to perform with. Lately I've done with John Haynes, who's normally a drummer who plays with me on my rock records, but he also plays computer and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of stuff as Chaos Butterfly with him.
You've also done music for dance. Can you speak to some of that? That's
I love doing music for dance companies. I've worked with a lot of Bay Area dance companies, primarily Sid Perlman, whom I met at Zeitgeist when I was bartending there in the early 90s. she said, I'd worked with some other dance companies previous to that, and she came up and she said, "Hey, I hear you're a musician. I run a dance company. I need a musician." And I said, "I could do that." That was about 1992, and I've been doing music for her ever since. I've done a lot of music for Sid Perlman as nesting dolls when they were here in San Francisco and here. And we've worked in two different ways. Sometimes she'll just give me a graph of the dance. You know, this part's big, this part's small. Sometimes she'll just say, "It's this long." And then, "Oh, no, this needs to be edited. I need parts of 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes," that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a great experience. Very different from, I mean, it's very visceral and very different from writing rock music. I've also done music for Ellie Leonhardt and Kurt Hayworth, who are East Coast choreographers, and Deborah Slater's dance company here. And I performed with Deborah Slater for a couple of different shows here, where I was actually on stage in costume, and I even had to actually dance.
Oh,
in one of them,
nice.
which was a little tough, but it's fun. I
Helps
really
you understand what you're, creating for too.
Yeah, exactly. I played one of the Deborah Slater concerts. We're over at that place at 9th and Mission, Counterpulse. Mm-hmm. I was playing slide guitar with the dance company, and then afterwards realized that Bonnie Raitt had been in the audience.
Oh my
Very
God.
embarrassing. But it's fun. I really love doing music for dance. Music
Yeah.
for dance is really amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So my last question, you
Yeah.
clearly draw on so many different influences, a huge palette. What are some of the things you're listening to now?
Strangely, I was just listening to this psychedelic blues rock playlist from Wolfgang's Vault.
Nice.
A nice 2 hours of late 60s psychedelic blues rock. I'm still into it.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Well, it's all coming back too.
I know, and
in a different form.
it's so amazing. And like some of those guys, I never fail to be amazed at how good a musician some of these guys that were like in their 20s were in the 60s. How did they do it? I mean, what San Francisco kid in his 20s now can
They
play
were
guitar
groundbreaking, yeah, and
like that? You know, I mean, it's like, okay, you guys have pedals that can make you sound like Jimi Hendrix, but you can't play like that. I'm sorry. It's going to take another 15 years of playing. I mean, it's taken me years of playing guitar to be able to get any good at all. And violin, I thought, yeah, by the time I'm 50, I'll maybe be able to play the violin. I don't know if that's going to work out either. But let's see, what else? I just was in Chicago with Camper and went to the rock and jazz blues store there, the record store, and got some very odd records and some outside records. I got a Music Electronica Viva record, improv noise from the late 60s, Robert Ashley opera.
Yeah, I need to have some interesting picks to tell us.
Yeah, I wish I'd been prepared. I could have actually thought about it a little bit more.
I mean, great.
Let's see. Oh, I was just listening to Arvo Pärt last night for a long time. My wife works at a Scandinavian school here in San Francisco where they only speak Swedish and Danish and Norwegian to the kids. And she wanted some sad music that they could paint to.
Aw.
She's like, "What do we got that was good?" And I was like, "Oh, there's some Arvo Pärt we could put on." And then that Japanese band Mono with World's End Girlfriend, they made a record which is incredible, just incredible.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Beautiful instrumental music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for stopping
Sure.
by and playing such a beautiful session.
Love to be
and,
here.
come back again anytime.
Sure. Bye-bye.